go deeper on education tonight and its future. Lance Izumi joins us, Senior Director of the Center for Education at the Pacific Research Institute, which is libertarian-leaning. We've had you on before, Lance. Also, the author of the upcoming book, The Homeschool Boom, Pandemic, Policies, and Possibilities. So let's start with this. This has been called an educational exodus. I think Axios coined that term. But 8.7 million kids, Lance, leaving the traditional system. What do you think is driving that?
Well, I think there are several reasons for that. I mean, part of it is the pandemic. I think, though, what the pandemic did was it opened up the opportunity for people to see, what other types of education options offered to them and to their kids. And so when it comes to homeschooling, I think that a lot of parents were able to find out that, A, it wasn't as much of a mystery to actually homeschool their kids, that they actually had a lot of resources available to them, ranging from curriculum to social arrangements with other parents who were homeschooling so their kids could get socialization, and that, their kids, didn't suffer a lot of the problems that oftentimes they have at a regular public school, such as bullying and safety issues. So I think that you take that whole combination, and that's why you see in your report the increase in homeschooling to go, doubling, and certainly in certain demographics, such as African Americans, going up fivefold.
It's wild. You wrote a whole book about it, and you clearly care a lot about it, the homeschool boom. It's up across the board, like you just said, in different states, cities, all races and ethnicities. But I got to tell you, I homeschooled for 6 years. I always tell people, bad idea. Like, I got a bad education during that time, if I'm honest with you. Are today's homeschoolers getting the same level of education they could in a regular school?
Well, I think that in many cases, and, again, every person's homeschool experience is different, right? Now, yours may not have been, other people's education.
I watched all my children all day.
Well, I think that what you're seeing, though, right now is that because of the, greater number of resources available, and that includes, both curriculum and testing and assessment programs that are available to homeschoolers so that kids can stay on track. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see that overall that homeschoolers, based upon the most strongest research available, that homeschoolers actually outperform regular public school students in the basic subjects. And so I think that while every person has to decide whether the homeschooling fits their individual needs, I think that overall, I think the reason why you're seeing this increase in homeschooling across the board, that it's because parents are finding out that, hey, my kid is actually doing better under a homeschool regimen than they were, in, let's say, a Zoom school, with the public schools, or even in person.
We didn't use computers in my education program back then, I should clarify. Real quick, I think we have 1 minute. What about funding? If you get funding per head, could this just launch a bomb into public school budgets?
Well, I think that, as your report mentioned, I think in the short term, not really, because you see a lot of states who are actually funding their regular public schools based upon pre-pandemic enrollment levels. So they're not going to feel that that fiscal problem right away. I think the longer that the schools, however, lose enrollment to, let's say, other types of options like charter schools, private schools, homeschooling, then that will cause a strain. But again, what the public schools should do then is to try and be more nimble and to address the concerns that parents have, and why are they leaving for these other options. And if it's, for example, that the curriculum doesn't fit their child, make various types of curriculum available to their children, to their kids, so that they may stay in the public school as opposed to choosing, let's say, homeschooling as an option.
Lance Izumi, we appreciate it. The new book, The Homeschool Boom. And I don't want to hate on homeschool. I could tell you everything about Erica Kane if you want to know. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lance.
Thanks a lot.
Coming up.